Mexican legend Juan Manuel Marquez comes out and questions the sanctioning body's decision behind Ryan Garcia and Roland Romero fight actually being put together. And WBA is something that's, you know, behind this whole situation. And Marquez just questioned it because, in a lot of situations over the years in the past, it was very hard for certain guys to get a chance at a belt. So when Marquez, him being a former fighter, pro boxer, he's looking at the position that Roland Romero and Ryan have been in recently, and he's just saying to himself, this definitely doesn't look right as far as these guys being qualified to get a belt. In his mind, I'm pretty sure he feels like years ago, before all this stuff was going on, that a lot of these guys weren't qualified to actually step out there and, actually fight for a belt in certain situations. And even now, it's becoming more prevalent in boxing where you have guys coming off losses, or even in this case, he brought up the fact that Ryan Garcia is coming off a suspension. He said, I think now boxing is being managed and they are doing it as they please. He said Ryan Garcia is coming off a 1 year ban. Plus, he's never been in a welterweight. He's never fought in the welterweight division to rank him in that division. Like Roland Romero, they have not been fighters in that division. And overnight, they appear as number 2 and 3. I think that sadly the WBA is doing its job badly, and they are also going to fight for the regular championship where there is a champion. And Marquez says you have to go back to the old school of boxing. When you have a champion, you have your official challenger, and he goes for a regular championship, no super champion. If there is an injury to the regular champion, the intern champion, the 1 and the 2 go to play the intern. So there is sense. But since the regular champion is fine and is defending, referring to like Stanionis, how are you going to put two other fighters who are also worth saying they have the draws to be classified, but not in that division, but in the one that corresponds to them, which is lightweight or super lightweight? I don't know, man. Like I was saying that recently, and Marquez being a Mexican legend, he knows that a lot of the stuff that's going on in boxing over the years, on both sides in this country and America and Mexico, how things are ran. So for him to look at things and say that's just out of whack, and he's referring to it like he's never seen certain things like this before, this badly. And you know, he's just questioning it, which definitely makes sense. You would want to know in this situation why a certain fight in this case is having two guys fight for a belt at 47 as well. You got to think about it. At 147, a lot of guys have been fighting at 147 before they came up there. A lot of guys. Then you got a guy coming off suspension, and Rolly, he had some bad performances recently. Had a loss last year. Um, yeah, it's a lot of bad situations. And fighting in the main event on a big card. Also have to think about that as well. So the whole situation, just definitely is a cause for concern in a lot of situations. Because in the future, will this be something that will happen more frequently? And this is like a more of a popularity thing than it is based off skill. Because you got to think, like you said before, these guys ain't never did nothing at 47. At 40, it will make sense. At 47, doesn't make sense at all. But we're gonna see in the future, what's gonna happen as far as if they are fighting for a belt. That means more fights are expected, big fights.